Hey kids, it's your old pal Mr. Sketchy. I'm coming to you today from my brother Maximus's house. Maximus is vacationing with his beautiful family right now, and I am doing a little house sitting for him. Now, these are pretty nice digs, and I'd love to give you a tour, but I have to be careful about recording information that might dox Maximus and his family because he was awful mad the last time I did it. So I'm being really careful about it this time. So anyway, he's out of town. I'm just popping in to make sure everything's okay and, checking things out, keeping things cool. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, I've already watched as much TV as I can handle for the time being on Max's giant screen TV with the satellite dish and everything. So I'm gonna do a little sketching video for y'all, and let's roll it. I don't know what else to say. Let's get this going. All right, kids. Today we're gonna draw a goldfish. So we're gonna start off using a colored pencil to sketch out our basic sketch here, and then we'll go to a regular pencil to finish the drawing. So right now I'm kind of marking where the end of the body should be and where the mouth should be, just to try to fit everything on the page. And now I'm drawing the basic shape of the body here. Now with fish like this, they pretty much have one unified body most of the time, so they just have one solid body shape. This one, he has a little bit of a poochy chub towards the front here, and then it goes into kind of a narrower part. So I'm going to try to draw it as kind of, I guess, two basic shapes here. And I'm adding some contours here to show those curves. So he's got almost, maybe this is almost 3 segments. He's got kind of a bean shape up at the front, and then a second kind of bulge, and then it goes into more of a flattened cylinder that joins in to the tail there. Alright, so I'm feeling a little more confident about these lines. I'm starting to darken them in a little bit. And I'm going to add some cross contour lines to kind of define the form. That's a nice thing about doing these sketches is you can kind of plan things out, define those forms, and they can serve as good guidance later on when you're drawing other details into the fish here, or whatever you're drawing. General purposes, concepts, and tools as well. These are not exclusively for drawing fish. So here I'm going to mark where the gill is right there. You can see I drew in the eye as well. And now I'm going to start drawing in some of these fins and the tail. There's a lot going on with this guy with the fins and tail. So this is kind of drawing two-dimensional shapes, and they may fold and curve in the space, but they're generally considered two-dimensional, these fins. So it's a little bit different than drawing these big, chunky, three-dimensional shapes. Alright, so we're kind of coming up into here. This is showing one of the fins in back. And then we've got another one that's kind of folding underneath. And it's a little bit transparent or translucent, so you can see kind of the fins underneath each other. And we got a lot of layering here. So we want to kind of start processing and making sense of that. The other thing that's nice about doing these sketches is you really get to think about the form of what you're drawing. And you learn a lot about the form while you're doing this sketch. And when you go in and do the final drawing, you can use what you learned and saw and realized about the form to inform that final drawing there. Alright, so we're going to kind of add these fins underneath here, connecting to the tail and the just fins on the side of the fish's body. Just kind of drawing out where they go. So we got a fin that connects on the side here, kind of comes down this way. And then it also kind of drops down along here and heads up this way. And then the fin kind of like folds. We've got these folds under here. We want to get some indication of those as well.
So here we've got it, it kind of folds over and then there's some thickness showing down at the bottom. See, I've added a little thickness. And I've got the rest of the fin there. I want to extend that gill line out just a little bit and add the other side fin. This is the ones on the other side, I think, right here. And it's got a little like twisty fold thing right there at the end. I'm trying to get some of that indicated as well. All right, now I'm drawing in the fish's mouth. So it's almost like a half circular shape, kind of stretched out. And then I'm adding the lip up top. And that lip sticks out in front of the rest of the fish's face. Same idea on the bottom here, a little bit less protruding. So we generally just want to kind of refine the shape here. So this needs to go up a little bit more, I think. And you want to make those corrections when you see them, you know. This is about kind of exploring the shape and figuring out what's going well and what's not. And fixing it if it's not. And you can kind of just sketch over. You don't really need to erase with the colored pencil or your sketching lines there. Alright, so now I'm going to go in and I'm going to start adding some shading. It's a good idea to add shading a lot of times before you add your contour lines. Just to kind of establish that shape, get that form established, and then you can add the contour lines on top. I think you can probably do it in any order, but I think this is kind of a good practice to get into, or at least try and experiment with and see if it works for you. So I'm just trying to add the shading onto the body that I see here. So we got some shadow all the way on the underside, continuing. And then there's a couple of spots in the upper areas where we've got a little bit of lower value as well. So I'm kind of shading using almost cross contour strokes. Right now I'm kind of drawing in where that terminator line is going to be. Then I'll kind of smooth that out, make more of a gradation between the edge of the shadow and the light area there. Alright, just kind of shading that in. I see a little bit of a dark spot right here. It's kind of one of the folds on that gill right there. We've also got a little bit of shading around the eye there. You just want to kind of shade in anywhere you see where it's kind of darker or we have a shadow laying on it. And that'll give it a nice kind of round feeling to it. It'll make it look more three-dimensional. You got to have that shading to make things look three-dimensional. This is very important, kids. So yeah, just kind of shading along that underside there. So when you're inventing and drawing from your imagination or your memory, you can kind of often shade along that underside there because most of the time the light's going to be coming from above in an outdoor situation. Alright, so now I'm going to start kind of shading in some of the dark areas on the fins here. Now as I shade these, you can see on the fins there's a lot of kind of folds and wrinkles and strong kind of lines along the fin. So for my shading, I want to kind of make my strokes follow the pattern of the fin there. So I want to kind of make them going long from back to the front of the fin. Here I kind of see I made some thickness there to kind of show. That's a lighter area. That's also kind of the thickness of the fin there. I'm just going to kind of shade all the fins wherever I see kind of darker areas using these same kind of strokes. Boy, my brother sure has a lot of animals making a lot of noise right now. It's kind of annoying for recording this video. I think it's a little weird also that he lets all these animals stay here and do pretty much nothing for him. But he won't let old Mr. Sketchy stay, you know, because he's dead weight and useless, and so on and so forth. Oh, sometimes your mind starts to drift, kids, when you're drawing. That's one of the wonderful things about it, but you also have to be careful when you're talking, making a video. You're just running your mouth, blabbing about things you shouldn't. So just never mind old Sketchy on that one. Yeah, so I'm just starting to add, continuing to add the texture as well as the shading into the fins here. Okay, this is looking pretty good. So a good practice for kind of checking out your values when you're shading is to kind of squint at the picture and kind of simplify the image a little bit. So make your vision so it's not so good, and compare the blurry picture to your drawing there. And your drawing at this phase should kind of look like a blurry version of your picture. But now I'm going in and I'm sharpening things up. I'm adding my contour lines. So I just want to kind of use my sketching with my colored pencil as well as my shading as a guide and kind of draw in these contour lines. Alright, now I'm shifting my grip a little bit, and the reason for this is because I want to get kind of a thicker stroke on the bottom of my fish here. So a good strategy, I think, when you're drawing in your contour lines is to make thicker lines in the shadow areas and then thinner, lighter lines in the areas that are getting highlighted. And I think that really punches up the drawing quite a bit in a way that's pretty neat. I'm going to add a little shading just to get it all the way up to the contour line there. And then continue adding contour lines to some of these details here. So which details you pay attention to and include in your drawing are totally up to you. And kind of your artistic choice. I think it's a good rule of thumb to kind of add the things that stick out the most to you first, and then work towards the maybe things that popped out less to you as you work through the drawing. Alright, now I'm adding in the eye. Well, these dogs are having a ruckus. This dog's having a ruckus. Hold on. Oh, man. Calm down, you guys. Come on. I'm trying to record a video here. Be quiet. Alright, I'm adding the contour lines up on the top of the torso here. I'm adding a little bit of a jagged kind of quality to the line here where it's joining up into the fin. I think that's a nice touch there. You can decide if you want to do it that way or not. It's up to you. And then just kind of drawing the rest of the line here. And while I'm drawing in this contour line, I try to pay close attention to my subject to get all the details and kind of desimplify. More ruckusing. Calm down! Sorry, you guys. I apologize. These dogs. I have an easier time recording videos in the median with the cars whizzing by like in the middle of the freeway. Less noise than these annoying dogs. I'm adding a little more texture to the fins. Dang it! Go away! Oh, leave me alone. Get out of here, dog. Bad dog. I'm adding a little texture to the fins. Kind of give a broken line for the back of the fin there, because those tend to have a little bit of zigzag. Sometimes they have a little damage from the everyday wear and tear of, being a fish. Those fish have it rough, There's lots of things that happen to fish that people have no idea about, There's like parasites and growths, fin rot, degenerative eye disease, There's lots of bad stuff that happens to fish. They have a hard. My mind is drifting again. Sorry, kids. So yeah, I'm just kind of finishing out the contour lines here. Just adding them in where I see them. Now there's a cat. This house is a zoo. No wonder he needs so much house sitting, He has another house sitter that takes care of the pets. I have to hide when she comes because I don't want to scare her, I'm just, keeping an eye on things. I don't have a specific job here. But me and the pets, we're buds. They just don't know when to be quiet, because I'm trying to record videos. Alright, so finish out those contour lines and apply texture to those fins. Use that texture to make shading. Unify all of these things together. You know what I'm saying? And now I'm erasing out a little bit of the thickness here, so I can continue that because that overlaps the body. So I have to erase the edge of the body out there. Get some nice overlapping going. All right, and then again, there's kind of some points coming out at the end of the fin here. And we really want to add those because those are like the interesting, fun parts of the drawing. I'm going to define that gill edge again and draw in the contour line for this fin as well. And we're getting to a point where we could feasibly be done with this drawing. I'm going to continue on and add a little bit of texture as well. Alright, so here we go. I'm going to kind of blend this to get a little more of a gradient in the texture here. I'm going to go in and I'm going to add some more texture. So what I'm doing is kind of making just little marks here and there. Just kind of adding a little texture into the shadow areas. And you can drift that texture up. You can make it go into the light areas as well. Just kind of lighten the texture a little bit. And you can use that even to help you make a nice clean gradient as well. So yeah, just kind of working through the shadow area here. Adding texture to everything. Trying to make it nice and clean here. So yeah, we kind of break it up, a little bit of texture in the dark areas, and then we run it up into the light areas as well. And it can reinforce that gradient. And we can use those cross contour lines we drew in the sketch to help guide where that texture should be. I'm also going to add a little bit more contrast and variation to the fins here. So just go in with a few kind of darker lines. You got all these folds and ridges in the fins there, so I want to add those in. Just kind of work our way all over the fish, just adding in whatever you notice. And what you notice about this can be different than what I notice. It doesn't have to be exactly the same. That's one of the things that will give you kind of unique characteristics as an artist, is the things that you notice and pay attention to. It's really all about documenting how you see the world around you. So having that kind of authentic experience and seeing those things is a really valuable part of the process. Alright, I'm just going to add a few more kind of lines and creases here. And then we should be pretty close to finished up. This looks like a pretty good fish to me. Alright. Got a little bit of overlapping here in the fins, so I'm going to erase that and make them so they overlap. And that's a really cool feature, having that overlapping and layering there. It makes the drawing more interesting, I think, overall. So there we go. We got a pretty nice looking goldfish. So here's our final finished picture here. Check it out. You can pause it here if you want to catch up. But it's a pretty nice looking goldfish. We got the shading, the contours, the texture, looking pretty nice all around. So I hope that was helpful for you in your goldfish drawing pursuits, and we will see you all next time on Getting Sketchy with Mr. Sketchy. Thank you. Oh my, what's this hobo bindle doing here? Minimus, are you in my house? I warned you last time that if I ever found you again, I would beat you as flat as a pancake.
Alright, thanks for watching, kids. Maximus did not know that I was here. I was just stopping in as a favor. I didn't want to scare him, I didn't want to surprise him, so I'm trying to get out of the house, and I'll talk to him about it later. Nothing to worry about here. So anyway, it looks like a good time. I'm gonna make my break. Don't forget the $5 in the can, though. $5 can, Applebee's. Bye bye.